I am so delighted to be here to talk about the new musical Cases. Originally, I was meant to be involved with the stage production of Cases that was due to open last year at the Other Palace. We all know what happened last year, though, so that didn't happen quite as expected. But instead, the musical is being released as an album online. And here to tell me about it, I've got and I want each of you to wave as I say your name. I have got the creator, composer, and lyricist, Dominic Powell. There we go. And I've also got the four strong cast who are performing the album. Maiya Quansah-Breed. And please tell me if I got, tell me if I mispronounced anyone's name. Maiya, did I get that right?
That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect.
Oh, awesome. Bobbie Little.
Hello.
Give a wave, Bobbie. Andrew Patrick-Walker.
Hello.
Give a wave. Thank you. And Waylon Jacobs. Give a wave, Waylon. The last man out. Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you, guys. It's great to see all your faces. This musical, as I kind of intimated just now, has had an interesting journey to date. So let's talk, first of all, about the journey of the musical, not just what happened during COVID 2020, but beforehand. Dominic, give us a quick summary of, well, first of all, what is Cases about? And how did you have the original idea? Where and when was it born?
Yeah, sure. So Cases, it's a song cycle. It explores unforeseen circumstances, unexpected crises that we go through in life, things that might happen that we might not expect, but how we kind of grow and learn from those experiences. And what's wonderful about Cases that we explore that through the lives of artists. Through the triumphs, the heartbreaks, the sacrifices, and I feel the life of an artist is very prone to a lot of unexpected crises and things like that. So it's a lot of personal and secondhand experiences which has formed the writing of the song cycle. It started off in 2015 when I had come out of drama school. I was going through quite a lot of difficult challenges personally. Was wanting to really find my way as an artist. I'd been watching lots of different interviews. I was watching a lot of Judge Judy. So this this idea of law and creating this musical about cases and stuff like that, as well as Market Boy, this incredible Brechtin piece, and having characters appear as just a normal actor and then play a different character. All of those different things kind of melted, and I created two songs called Heightened and Let Your Garden Grow in September of 2015. And I was like, these songs really mean something special to me. So I looked at some other songs that I had written before over the last few years back then, and then wrote some more songs, and then created about 13 songs in 2017. Did a premiere of that at the Phoenix Arts Club, and then just kind of snowballed. We just can continue to write up to where we are now. We've got about 21 songs, and about 18 of them appear on the album.
Incredible. I'm going to show my age here and say that I saw the premiere of David Eldridge's play Market Boy at the National Theatre, and I love that play. So I'm really delighted that it's inspired you to write a musical. Does he know? Does David Eldridge know that?
He doesn't. I wish he did, because he's a wonderful playwright. I love what he does with characters and stage plot and just the worlds that he creates. But I'm sure, hopefully, at one point, I'll be able to connect with him.
Oh, I might have to message him. Okay. And Dominic, you mentioned that it's when you were in drama school that you first started working on it. Which drama school was that?
It was at Central. It was actually shortly after leaving Central, actually. That I'd written, like, for example, a song called Waterfalls I wrote when I was at college at the Brit School. A song called You I'd written after a very turbulent relationship when I was at Central. So they were kind of standalone songs, and when I finished Central, it was at that time that I sort of started to gather these songs, older songs, new songs, and started to create this piece, which I didn't know what it was going to be about, but it just sort of felt like I had to write about challenges in life and things that we could overcome.
Wonderful. And you mentioned the 2017 initial run at the Phoenix Arts Club. How did that go? What did you learn from it?
It was a very interesting experience. It was an artistic experiment, as Bobbie can fully testify. We kind of just workshopped and just kind of threw everything out. It was a really good experience because we really learned that the music and the songs were quite vital. We had created a script and tried to incorporate narration, but we felt in its kind of Breton style that it would that the music was the strongest part. So we had a lot of good reception from the audience. We were able to workshop the score with different with different instruments, and it was just a really fun time just to put it on at quite an underground venue, but very notable for concerts, and work with Michael Walker from Collaborate, which was fantastic, and his support was just insane. Just in terms of the first initial kickstart for the musical to raise awareness, and just to get his passion for the music was really fab.
That's incredible. Now you've referenced Bobbie there, so let's bring Bobbie in. Bobbie, you go back a long way with the show. You, in fact, were in that first cast in 2017. How did you get involved?
So me and Dom actually go way back because I went to Brit with him. So we trained together at Brit. And back then he was also writing, he was doing Rosemary Lane. And so he contacted my agent, I think, and just said, like, are you free to do this? And at the time I was working in town, and I was like, yeah, of course, like I'd love. And it's always like it's a cool thing when it's someone you know as well. And it's like, oh, we can actually have a good time and it will be really fun. And so yeah, I came in and learnt the music. And I was like, damn, this is hard. I was like really impressed. It's very like, yeah, I really like the songtiminess of it. And I really enjoyed learning it. And like it was a good challenge for me because it was quite high. I always say this, I'm so nervous of singing high, and some of it's quite high, and I was like, okay, pray for me. But yeah, it was really fun because we didn't have a massive amount of time, but it was just a really like team effort, and it was really creative. And like actually performing the music was really, I didn't realize how much I would, because it's so emotive, especially the songs in that I sing are really emotive. Well, actually all the songs that all the characters sing are quite emotive, but a few of the songs I was like really getting drawn into the emotion of it. And like, even though I didn't speak actual like words, it was all sung, and we had a narrator, like Dom said. I really felt the journey. It was really quite powerful, and I didn't really know that was going to happen until we performed it in front of an audience. And my family saw it, they really loved it. And the music is just great. I mean, the music sells itself in a way, because it's just I think it's really clever, and it's very, yeah, it's very different as well. So that was really fun, and obviously it was like there was 4 of us, and we'd not really got to rehearse together very much, that I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dom. And it just sort of really came together, and it was just really fun, and yeah, a really good time, a great showcase. It's a great venue for that kind of thing, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. I really enjoyed it, as I said, and that was the birth of this.
That was a birth. You were there at the birthing. So
I was there.
I love it. And I'm also true, like I'm it's been a while for any of us to have been to the Phoenix Arts Club, but it'd be and to any club. But yeah, I'm trying to remember the last time I was there. It's yeah, nice, and I love that. It's like we're traveling back in time, that venue, isn't it? It's
Oh yeah.
feels to me like it's
Lovely.
like you're in the wartime Blitz, London during the Blitz or something. I love it. But fast forward now, away from the Blitz to 2020. Dom, you then were due to present the musical at the Other Palace. Why did you want to revisit the show 3 years later?
Just felt like the right time. I'd taken some time out of the industry in 2018. I had operation on my back, and I was left retail. I just took some time out of life, actually. And Hoi Polloi, I got Hoi Polloi, I got Burst Through Life, I got new songs that started to emerge about the same themes. So it came to a point in 2019 where I was like, I really want to do this. I really want to do it. And I was thinking about what different venues. And I'd had a relationship with the other palace before. I did like a cabaret there. I would always talk to the staff there and kind of share my work. And it was just at that time, I just emailed them in the morning. I will always remember them that same morning. And within 2 hours, they were like, Dom, we want to do it. And it just so happened that there was a right time in 2020. It would have finished on my birthday that year as well. It was just a really nice one and right date. So it just felt it was the right time to not only revisit the music, but also add a new layer, add some new songs, and yeah, just try it out and see if we could do a run.
Lovely. It's a beautiful theatre, and the studio there at the other palace as well is just incredibly intimate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, so that run was due to star again a 4-strong cast, and that cast included Maiya and Andrew. So, Maiya and Andrew, what originally attracted you to appearing in this new musical last year? Who would like to go first? Maiya, let's start with you.
I'll go first. I am a lover of a new musical, especially if it's British. Just because I love to pioneer new work. I just think it's great to be able to unlock and be a part of someone's creative journey in a new musical. And being in Six beforehand, getting to be a part of a collaborative process. I was so excited to do Cases, to be a part of another collaborative process, which will definitely be different from the last one because no two shows are the same. And the music ultimately really drew me in. And like Bobbie said, it's very Sondheim-esque, so intricate and so hard to learn. But once you've learned it and you sing it together, the payoff is so grand. And that it just shows the detail and his just brilliant mind. Dom, your mind is brilliant. So it's amazing it was amazing to be able to share that with other people and get to tell the snippets of Dom's personal entails in the show, and get basically kind of take the song to life, bring it from paper to and hopefully do it some justice.
Andrew, what about you? What attracted you to the show?
With me, it came through a friend, Sabrina, who was in the cast, and the first thing was work, honestly. I was just about to finish a job. So I was like, absolutely, give me a project. And then when we got on the phone, me and Dom spoke, he sent over tracks. And the more I listened, I was like, wow, this music's really beautiful. And then he told me the part that he wanted me to play and blah, blah, blah. And the conversations carried on and the agents got involved. And again, also new musicals is something that I like to pioneer also. So new work and exploring new themes, and especially being a Black writer and composer, I think that's really important that we are offering those, and yeah, it's really important.
Yeah. Now the run was meant to take place in early April. Obviously that ran straight up against the first COVID lockdown. How far along in preparing production did you get?
So we kind of like spread out the rehearsals, but our proper like rehearsal period schedule, be there at 9 a.m. and finish at 6, was supposed to start on the 19th of March. I remember very vividly because I was delayed from coming back from Thailand. And I remember messaging everyone on the WhatsApp chat being like, oh, we're rehearsing tomorrow. And Dom was like, oh, sent us all the details. And I remember like Sabrina and Adrian putting like, Maiya, do you not know what's going on in the UK? And I was like, what are you all talking about? Like over in Thailand, I was on a great time, telling myself I did not know what was going on because it just wasn't a thing. Over there at the time, everyone in the UK seemed to be stressed buying 90 packets of toilet roll. And I was there sipping a pina colada on a beach. I had no idea what was going on. And I was also 7 hours in front, so and one of my flights got delayed. So it wasn't until I obviously like when I wasn't on a plane, I messaged Dom and said like keep me updated. And it wasn't until the following morning when I arrived like back into the UK, Dom called me and he was like, yeah, we're unable to go ahead with the run. And I was gutted because we were literally like this close. We'd done a couple of rehearsals. We'd done our
theatre cafe.
Yeah.
We'd have the theatre cafe, so we were getting the hype around the show. People were like saying the book tickets, like the opening night, the finishing night. The people were so excited to come, and there was this whole buzz around this new musical, what people were craving, and people still always do crave. And it was going to be such a joy to get to do. So the fact that this national lockdown came out of nowhere and kiboshed the dream. But I truly believe we will get our time. I truly believe there is still a run for cases, COVID regardless.
I believe you're right, but Dom, so fill us in a little bit more from what Maiya's just said. How, I mean, were you initially thinking about postponing it at the other palace, or what were your options, and how did you decide, make that difficult choice about what to do?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I think from the 16th, we it was very interesting because I think there were some West End shows that were starting to close, and it was about capacities. So because the studio was 100 seats, we were like, oh, we'll be fine. We didn't know anything obviously about social distancing and the spread and everything. So we were quite confident until that morning of the 19th, and we found out that, you know, April was completely cancelled. So there was lots of discussions about postponing, about, you know, later on in that year, and lots of different things. We tried to do like a virtual EP with the cast because there was a lot of like digital like content that was coming out, but we didn't feel that was the right direction. So there were a lot of different conversations, but I think where we got to, because there was so much hype and so much success, we felt comfortable that if we took a rest and we kind of revisited it a bit later on in the year, that whether that was a live version or another version, that we would still be able to get that same momentum in some way. It was the toughest thing, obviously, because we were literally on the edge of going into rehearsals. We had done so much preparation, so much, even like all the interviews and all the different little clips and things like that, but we just had to literally just hold on and just kind of rest and just hopefully, and thankfully we did bounce back in some way.
I remember as well, you had some beautiful photography of the cast, Andrew and Maiya, and their original co-stars, Adrian and Sabrina. Yeah, some really wonderful marketing materials. So you've got to have those again at some point. But so you had a rest, and then at what point did you gear up and think, okay, now we're ready to do something else?
It was in October that we received a message from a college who wanted to hire cases. That news will be coming out very soon. So we knew that there would be some form of public reception of the show. So then we were thinking, well, it'd be great if, you know, audiences had a taste of the music before there was a public show. And we kind of looked at what we had, you know, everything costs money, so we had to look at, you know, lots of different fundings, lots of different partners, sponsors and things like that, and it just so happened that we were able to put on, you know, and comfortably in some way support an album. And we just thought that is the best way, because the music has been so resonant, the themes are so resonant with what we're going through. We were just, you know, in the middle of different lockdowns in October, November. We just felt, with this being the biggest unforeseen, the biggest case many of us have had to experience in our lifetime, we just knew, beginning 2021, we just, it was the right time for it to come to in some form.
Great. Well, I want to come back to the resonances in a minute, but just continuing on the journey of the show, obviously doing it at a different time and in a different forum meant that you could also bring back Bobbie to the show, and also Waylon, who could join the cast. So you're expanding your family quite a bit.
Yeah.
So Waylon, first of all, tell me, you come and join this story now. So when did you get involved? And I believe actually you kind of had to save the day to some degree. Tell us about that.
Yes, I am the baby of the company, even though I'm probably the oldest here. I believe it was like literally opening of the new year, so everyone was gearing up for the offices to be open on the 5th or 4th of January, whenever it was, and it must have been 11 o'clock Monday morning. I get an email from my agent, and I was like, "Care? What? Someone wants me to do an album." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, Dominic's got in touch," and I was like, "Oh, how's this come about?" And then I was like, "But it's like in a couple of days." So like then I was like, "Okay, this is crazy." So then me and Dominic started speaking, and before I knew it, like I said, that was the Monday. Through Tuesday we had a little rehearsal, and by 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock on Wednesday we had recorded the whole thing. Like I had never met Bobbie, Andrew, or Maiya. Like it was completely bonkers to me, and then I was just trying to add, like, because there's some songs on it that I sing with Bobbie that I was just like trying to make sure that I blend with her, and like situations just like trying to fit and make sure that I fit in the best I possibly could with these guys and create some magic, because you know what we do is fun and like put smiles on people's faces. So I was just like trying my best to fit in.
You smashed it. You smashed it.
So well.
Smashed it. That's a
Like
good endorsement. And Bobbie, was it fun for you to return to this material after nearly 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a brain fog. I was like, I nearly swore then. I was like, oh, but this is a lot of like, it's a lot of like memories, but I'm like, I'm sure it's there, but I just need to revisit. It was a good challenge, actually. I think I was pretty bored at the time as well, so it came really good time.
Decent to work on.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I can flex these muscles again. So yeah, I really enjoyed going back through it actually. And I did have like in one song I had like a different harmony, so that was really good for me because sometimes I can be terrible on the old harmony.
I'm sorry, that's my fault.
No, I needed it, and actually it was probably a bit easier, but yeah, I really enjoyed getting back into it, and I was honoured to be asked. It was lovely. Yeah, came at a great time. So yeah.
Now, there've been a huge number of digital releases in different forms from theatre folks over the past year. People getting incredibly creative and adapting to these circumstances. But a lot of them doing things like what we're doing now, doing digital projects via Zoom. But you guys actually got to go into a physical recording studio, is that right?
Yes, we did.
That's quite a privilege too. What was that also fun just to get back into a recording studio? Yeah, people are. Andrew, tell us about going back to the recording studio. What was it like, and any anecdotes that happened while you were putting the album together?
I mean, it was great. It was amazing to get back in a space and be creative and hearing the piano and talking about things and how people wanted voice types and all the stuff that we were so used to doing all the time and we'd all been deprived of for so many months. Just to feel that creative collaboration was amazing. Anecdotes, well, as I said, we'd been deprived for quite a while, so the old pipes were a little bit dusty. So there's many outtakes where we were howling laughing of awful notes, awful harmonies, wrong words, swearing, just it was so fun to just be doing what we love and also doing Dom's amazing work. Like the music is just so beautiful that to get the opportunity to go back in the studio and do that, it's just amazing.
Wonderful. Anybody else want to talk about getting back into the studio?
I will say a tiny. It was. I had this conversation earlier, and I was saying that it was one of those. Dom called me. You free on Tuesday? Right? Yeah, I'll be there. And there was not really any time to prepare, but I still feel like it was one of my best pieces of work, and that was because I felt like I have to do this justice. This has to be good for Dom. This has to do his work justice. And it was just this, I can't even explain, there was this feeling being in the studio and just singing and just getting it all out. And I gave this analogy before of the sense of like, I feel that artists are a piece of coal and under pressure we turn into diamonds. And I feel like that's what happened in that studio that day. We were all under pressure to make the best work we could. And in this sense, the payoff has been so worth it, so grand. So yeah, it's been everything and more, just because of the circumstances we were under. To be able to create again, it just makes it all that more special.
Especially Waylon, because he had so little time and he's phenomenal on the album. He sounds amazing. He had like 2 hours to learn the whole thing.
I just marvel.
You sound like you are a seasoned veteran, my darling.
Oh yeah.
Seasoned.
You are a seasoned veteran of cases, whether you like it or not. You are here to stay.
No, but like, it has been. Like, these guys are just they're like, honestly, it was amazing. I was so the whole thing. I am better because of people being better. You know what I mean? Like, I always grow with people. It's the hardest, the thing I love most about musical theatre is being on stage with someone and working with them. So like, going into the studio and hearing what all these guys had already put down was absolutely incredible. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then just being free again and being like, oh my god, sing, because there's nothing, it's so horrible, there's nothing more disheartening than sitting in a room trying to make it as soundproof as possible and then being like, I'm gonna sing now, and it just be like, oh, like it's so horrible. So to be back in a room having like vocals, like all of their voices are ridiculous. I mean, you will have seen Bobbie's and Maiya's videos probably already. Like, just wait till you see this one as well. And Andrew, you're below me on that, so I don't know. So I'm just like, but like, it's just so wonderful and really refreshing, and it was so exciting and exhilarating to be back doing the thing that we love again. Yeah, it was just nice. My 2 cents.
That's incredible. I love it. No, I wish I'd been a fly on the wall, a socially distanced fly on the wall. But just a quick note on that, actually. Dom, what precautions did you have to take in order to have people come into the recording studio during COVID?
Several. I think we really wanted to make sure everyone was quite isolated, so we kind of scheduled accordingly. So we scheduled, 2 artists per each day, and we were constantly ventilating, hand gels, wearing masks, socially distanced. I had my notebook, producer had his notebook, like just really making sure that we were in our own worlds, but we were connected because of the project, and we were connected creatively, spiritually, but obviously we were still, make sure that we kept all the necessary precautions. The studios were absolutely fantastic. They sent me like 5-6 pages of precautions, which I read through in like 2 hours to make sure that everything was just in place. They were so committed to making sure that we can still achieve our vision, but obviously be safe and note that we are in a global pandemic. But it was just obviously the timing as well. We were able to obviously still go at that time and still be able to achieve work and yeah.
Yes, you got lucky in some ways, I guess, with the timing, given how things just keep locking down. But don't you feel like you've got so many hugs to distribute when we're allowed to hug one another again and kiss? And I mean,
so many.
I know, so many. But let's talk about the resonances then with this year. We touched on this a little bit, but I just want to read to you something that Dominic has written as a preface to the libretto. So Dominic wrote, at its core, Cases explores how we respond and can be inspired by crises and unforeseen circumstances. And in particular, he says that the musical is a love letter to the arts and entertainment industry and to artists struggling with the ever-present prospect of financial instability. And all of that, it all sounds like a kind of spot on description of the past year, as much as anything, you know, that artists struggle always. You know, it's not an easy profession. I don't need to tell any of you that, but this past year, my heart just breaks for the industry and what artists in particular are going through. So do you all think, is this a musical that it has really met its moments? And if so, why do you think that? Lots of people are nodding. Who wants to go first? Maiya, you gave the biggest nod, so I'm going to have you go first. Sorry to pick on you.
Like it's an art imitating art type thing. It's the trials and tribulations of being an actor, but then trying to navigate in a world that nobody knows anything about. So yeah, that's literally it. Nobody saw the case of a pandemic coming. Nobody knows how to plan for a case of a pandemic, and especially being in the field that we are in as well. We are extremely malleable and extremely versatile, but nothing hurts more than having your livelihood and your passion literally ripped away from you, completely under the rug, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that resonates in the sense with cases that, like, we were literally about to start and that rug was pulled under our feet, literally, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all of it. So yeah, it was a very, very much of a moment of life imitating art through a piece.
and I think also lots of people maybe are super lucky that they don't experience the topics that we sing about in this. Some people are super lucky and work consistently, or have money behind them, or these kind of things that can prop them up to be able to do this. But for like underrepresented people, it's so much harder. And I feel like we've all now had a taste of what these topics are, so we can all relate in a way, not to the same extent, but more than maybe before.
Yes. Waylon, do you want to add to that? I'm going to pick on everybody. You're all going to get your chance.
Oh, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, no, it's just echoing what's really been said already. That's why I was like, oh, don't want to say much. Like, you know, it is, we all finding our way in this world at the moment. Like, no matter what we're doing, we're trying to be as malleable as possible and switching up our lives. I've always been a hustler, so like if I've not been working in theatre, I've always had some kind of job. I will never give up a hustle. Like, I need to earn the pennies because I'm not from a well-off family. Like, you know, we graft, like that's it. So hearing some of these songs and just being like, oh my gosh, yeah, I know that, I hear that, and then the pandemic happening as well, and you're just like, oh, but literally the connections, it's just like weaving, it's life imitating art, and it's just, I can't even remember what the beginning of the question was now.
You nailed it. That's it. Bobbie, has this musical met its moment? Has the musical met the moment of the pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dom, are you psychic or something? Because seriously,
it's
beyond weird, isn't it? Really, it's beyond.
I can't even. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely mental. How, I mean, it's a case. It's like the biggest case of all face. So it's kind of freaky, actually. But I think, just to echo what everyone said, yeah, I agree. And I think actually everyone can relate with it because everyone's lives are different. Now everyone's lost something. Everyone, I don't know anyone that hasn't, you know. Everyone's had to be flexible in a way that we've never had to be flexible before. Everyone's had to adapt. And, you know, it's been different levels for each person. But, you know, it's a struggle. It's a real struggle. And, you know, I think it's just crazy how in every song there's just a lot to relate to. It's actually weird. Again, it's a bit weird, Dom. And there's a lot to relate to. Like, there's been I can only speak for myself, but there's been a hell of a lot. My life's completely changed in this small time of Corona. Like, I left a 7-year relationship, moved, loads of things changed entirely, and I feel like that's life, and the illusion that we had of control is really gone.
Yeah,
We had control. What a lie that was. And
What a lie.
Well, I was gonna actually ask, I mean, how have you guys as people and as artists been affected this past year, professionally, personally, if you want to talk about that? How's it been professionally? That's probably a more straightforward question. Dom, let's start with Dom actually. Dom, how's it affected? Have you been affected?
yeah. I mean, everything that I could cling on to just went. So, like teaching when obviously we had other things planned for Pioneer Arts this year that went. So it was, cases and do maybe some other things with cases and other projects. So, and everything went. So it was a lot. It was a tough. Fortunately, there was some sort of government support that I was able to kind of seek. And I think it was only till about maybe October that I could say, okay, now I'm actually building things up again. But yeah, it was very, very tough just trying to work out how do you survive, like and just I find myself very blessed that I'm still with family, that I have that support, that I can just cry with my mum or just talk to my dad or whatever. But I mean, I wasn't doing that every day, but but just to have that support is useful. But it was dire, like the first 3 months. Like, it was tough.
I mean, with the income support schemes, obviously there's the 2 schemes, and very famously a huge number of people and performers in the theater industry fall through the cracks, right? They don't. So Andrew, you didn't qualify for a self-employed support scheme, and obviously not the furlough scheme because you guys aren't employed by companies.
No.
So was anyone able to get support?
Yeah, I'm on universal credit.
Universal credit.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's hard to pay the rent and the bills and
you're
and all the
telling
rest
me. Yeah, but hey, I've got a roof over my head, so it's okay.
Roofs over the heads, all right. Okay, and does anyone else want to talk about how they've been affected professionally or personally? Waylon, you've moved also into a new abode there, you were telling us.
Yes, that's so I mean, starting at the beginning, I was visiting my mother for Mother's Day, got locked down with them. So, because I think it was the day after Mother's Day or something like that, or 2 days after. I was like,
a day later.
so I got locked down with my parents, and they've recently retired and everything. So they moved into a little bungalow. So I was living in a conservatory for the first couple of months, desperately trying to find any kind of job, any kind of job at all. I couldn't get any. And then when the lockdown lifted a little bit, I got back to London and was like, okay, I'll hunt for a job here. Again, paying rent in a flat, and I was like, oh my god, this is so much money and I'm not earning anything. And then managed to find a flat in Grove Park, which was a lot cheaper. So I was like, oh great, downsized, got a job cleaning trains out of Waterloo Station, and that was my summer thing. If any of you, I didn't know any of these guys then, but I started Disney on the Trains, where I would just be walking along the trains belting out Disney songs at one point on my Instagram. It's quite funny. I was just because I was so bored. But then fortunately I got to play Jamie in the last 5 years at the Minack Theatre in Cornwall. So that was like, oh my gosh, we're back in theatre. It was like a breath of fresh air. And we went down to Cornwall, did it for a week. It was like just a wonderful little thing that I could hold on to. Then I came back and started a job as a support worker, which I'm still doing now. I was doing that for a couple of months. Then I did a one-man play at of Peter Pan at the Barn Theatre in Cirencester. So I was very fortunate again to do theatre twice in a year. So like I've really not, I've don't take anything for granted. Like my blessings, I'm just like, this is a thing. We obviously got shut down on the rechange of Tears just after Christmas on Boxing Day. And then I had started dating someone before COVID all happened. And obviously we was just like, couldn't see each other. My best friend has just moved out of this flat and was like, do you want to move in? So to get a cheap rent, we were like, well, we've been dating. Shall we try? We might as well try instead of getting locked down again and just having Skype. So that's why I now live here with my partner, because COVID has forced it. So, but I don't have any regrets about it, and I'm dead chuffed. But it's having to help pay the bills and stuff like that, and just get on with not.
Yeah.
That is a fast forward romance. I've heard that about COVID though. Yeah, that's a definite quick way to test the waters whether you stay together long term. Well, we wish you luck with that. That's awesome. So Dominic, obviously, hearing these things, as we've said, these real life stories of the people who are performing your show mirror a lot of what the show is about. Have you had to change or been tempted to add or amend anything about Cases to make it more topical, or does it just stand as it is?
As it is, which is just crazy. Like I wrote it 5.5 years ago as a struggling artist with no money, £20 a week, working in an after school club, depressed, very much the same feelings we felt in the last year. And it was at that time I just felt, this word Cases, obviously Judge Judy was kind of helped with that word. Kind of
yes, Judy.
in my living room, just flicking through. But like, it just felt like Cases. The amount of times I've said, can we do this just in case? That word, it just springs up so many different ideas. We say it probably every single day. We're now saying it every single day because of trying to manage this pandemic. And it's just looking back at the material, because it was written from a very authentic, raw place. It's just, I feel very fortunate as an artist that it has it still resonates. There are like a couple interludes we've written just in terms of a kind of structural point of view. In terms of the musical, we felt that those two interludes would be great for the character of Dr. Folk and for Victoria to kind of cement a few journeys when we were crafting the album and just all of that stuff. But pretty much it's remained unchanged.
Okay, that is, as Bobbie said, you are a bit of a prescient genius, I think.
Oh, no,
you referenced, you mentioned a couple of the character names there. So let's just meet the characters. Guys, each of you, could you tell me who you play and a little bit about them? Bobbie, who do you play? And
I play Victoria, and she is kind of, so she's very creative. She believes that she has a lot of plans. She really believes in all these things that she wants to do, sort of deviser, actress, and like, so she has, it's almost pressurizing how much she wants to do, and she feels very shut out of a lot of doors shutting on her and people not trusting her, and she just wants to be able to live her truth and succeed in her eyes, and she feels sort of neglected and as though people don't take her seriously, and sort of like that. And she's, it's really relatable, because I'm sure all of us actors have felt sometimes like, why, like sort of like why do they not believe in me? I've got all of these things I want to do, and then also like you lose faith in yourself, because when other people don't validate you, sometimes you're like, oh, a little worm of doubt seeds and like plants in your head. And I just feel like it's a very relatable character, and also very emotional. She has her songs are very emotional. They're really they're very expressive. You can tell she's she's quite a highly sensitive person, and it's almost like anxious sometimes. And I just find that really relatable, and it's quite therapeutic singing some of her songs, because it just seems very relevant to, I mean, my life, and I'm sure loads of others. So yeah, that's Victoria. She's an emotional queen.
Well, nice communication. But I'm gonna come back and ask you in a minute about your favorite songs or lines. But first off, was Victoria the same character that you played in 2017?
Yes, she was. But I think she was wasn't she a costumer before?
Yeah, she was like a costumer, like costume designer, but it be kind of her actress devisor was more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made it even more
great.
relatable.
Crafting it.
Okay, well, we're very pleased to know Victoria. Andrew, tell us about your character. Who is he?
Dr. Folk / Player 3, I believe.
Yeah.
And he is a seasoned producer, and he's kind of I worded it so well the other day. Terri, why weren't you there that day?
I'll start following you around. I'll follow you around from now on.
He's kind of the undercurrent. He's a positive undercurrent for the show. All his songs are really encouraging, and it's about cultivating and nurturing your creative spirit and who you are, and being your own champion, or being the guide for somebody who needs a champion. And I think that's really important. Some people don't have that in themselves yet. They haven't been able to do that for themselves, or they've never had the opportunity to meet somebody who is that character for them in art, in life, in anything. So that's my character, and it was great to have that positive narrative of trying to. It's always so hopeful. Dom writes so well. The music follows that as well, and it's nice to just be positive, really. To be honest.
Yeah, we need all the positivity we can get. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, Maiya, tell us about Sophia. You must be Sophia.
Sophia / Player 1. Sophia is an out of work actor. I think I became the costume designer, right? I think that got weird narrative.
Yeah.
And she is recently starting to look into studying law at university. So I'm guessing that's where the Judge Judy came in.
This is it.
And she's very much I like Bobbie said, singing these pieces and being this character is so therapeutic, and the journey that Sophia goes on, I very much relate to. Like over this past year, I've really felt these songs, and I got the opportunity to sing some of the songs last year, because I asked Dom if I was doing a little concert. I was like, can I sing Guy, or can I sing one of the songs? And unbeknownst to Dom, I really carried me through last year and very much helped me through an extremely emotional time in my life. I suffered a loss, and that song kind of put me back on my feet, basically, and showed and gave myself that self-belief. And that's what Sophia does to me. She has so much self-worth, and she's striving and pleading for other people to see it as well. And she finds it extremely frustrating, because she's like, why are these doors not opening for me? And I'm working so hard, and I'm doing everything I possibly can. I'm even going to university to study law, so I have other things under my basket, and just trying to navigate this world. And I feel like she's highly emotional in the sense that she's like, I'm giving everything I've got, and I'm getting no validation from you, so I'm going to find it from somewhere else. And I think by the end of Sophia's journey, she realizes that she is enough, and she doesn't have to be validated by anybody else, and her own self-worth is enough. She doesn't have to project it for other people. And I very much relate with that. It's about your own self-validation. You don't need somebody else to tell you you're doing well to know you're absolutely acing it. So it's one of those set your goals and smash them quietly and watch everyone else around you cheer your name, and I want that to happen for Sophia. So that's yeah.
That's
So yeah,
great.
I feel that's Sophia.
She sounds fantastic, and I also really like the sound of the song "I." What was it before we come back to Waylon? But you mentioned "I," and it's really struck me. What was it? What is it about that song? What is it that resonates with that song?
The lyrics, it's like a poem to me, and the middle section, it repeats me, myself, and I will be strong together. Me, myself, and I, and that was I won't give any more away because I want everyone to hear the lyrics, and but that section to me really just it just solidifies the fact that like me, myself, and I, we will be strong together. Like we will get through this. We have each other, and it kind of separates you, not separates, but brings your psyche and brings yourself together, and knits them into one, because sometimes you can very much feel disconnected from yourself, especially in a time of like loss or grief or even excitement. You can feel extremely overwhelmed. So I feel in that song it very much brings the two parts of me together, and I'm able to center myself and really connect with the song and connect with how it makes me feel.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Waylon, tell us about your character, family.
Hey, so my character is called Maxwell / player 4. He's an interesting one, really. I mean, they're all interesting, but Maxwell is coming from a different point of view. He has had success because he knows how good he is. Like, he's come in, he's created a lot of wealth for himself through the world that he loves, but not necessarily because he's doing the artistic, the creative type of thing. He's just plowing out things, and he's good, and he's like, yeah, this is fine. So he's coming from the top and is having a bit of a rediscovery because he's feeling that he's not being creative anymore. He's not being an artist. He's losing his sense of self. But you know, the money's good, and I kind of like that, so you know, I'm gonna stay here for a while. But so that's his kind of journey. He's like, oh, I could be creative. I ache to be more creative, but the money's good, so you know, I'm gonna stay here. And it's quite an interesting way to come from. And when you hear the songs, the way that I was just speaking about it then, you wouldn't think necessarily that that's how it is. You really do have to be listening to the lyrics and be like, oh crap, yeah, shit, I get it. Because they're what Hoi Polloi and You are beautiful songs. So like, I absolutely adore them. I said to Dom when he first introduced me to Hoi Polloi, I was like, this is stunning. And I just think there's very lyrical, which is what I love. I'm not I need a nice, smooth, slow flowing song. I can't do these fast ones. But like that is him like reassessing things in You and Hoi Polloi. But then when you've got Charge, you see the arrogance, you see that self-worth. You're like, oh, there's the guy that's done it all and thinks he knows everything. So it's quite an interesting journey that he goes on, and like in ways you can, like I can relate, not for like the money making thing and losing creativity, but like, you know, when you're in long running jobs, sometimes long run of a show, you get that point where they're like, so do you want to stay on? And you're like, this is nice, I'm in a wage, like da, 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 da. But what my motto has always been, and this is my thing, move up or move on. So like, if I've been understudying something, or there's a swing, like if there's an option for me to change something in what I'm doing to keep it creative, to keep it fresh, if I can't move up, I should move on so I can learn new skills elsewhere. So like in that sense, I find a connection with Maxwell in the whole wanting to be creative again, that comes around full circle.
I really like that. Move up or move on. I like that. I'm going to steal that. Do you mind?
Yeah, I was thinking that. I'm gonna steal that one.
Guys, do
A new song.
not blame me if work doesn't happen, because that's the sort of situation that happens. And you're sat there like, oh no, I should have stayed.
You should have listened to Waylon.
No, that the opposite would be go nowhere, right? Move up, move on. No, go nowhere. So we've mentioned a few songs there. I'm looking at my song list. So we've had some, I'll call them votes for favorite songs for I, Hoi Polloi, You, Charged. Any other favorite songs? Andrew, Bobbie, any songs that really speak to you? Andrew.
I love Let Your Garden Grow. It's my favorite one. Well, do you know what? All the songs I sing, I'm really happy about. They're great. But Let Your Garden Grow, it's such a beautifully written song, and like I was talking about before, it's all about cultivating creativity and being kind and nurturing, and yeah, I just think that's beautiful words to hear, and the way he's written the melody, it's so comforting and enjoying. Yeah.
Nice. And Bobbie, what about yours?
Damn, they are all good, you know. All my songs are like, I like them for different reasons, but I think I really love Waterfalls because it's not just like the words that are emotive, it's the actual singing. It's like a marathon. It's like you have to gear up and then you're in and then you're strapped up. It's like going on a theme park ride. It's like a rubber it's like going through the moments, the waves, and then you're up there and then I'm in my boots. It's a lot, and it's really rewarding. It's I don't know, it's really emotional. A lot of it feels like crying but singing. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like,
no, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that's a ride. That song is a ride, but I love it. But they are all really good in different ways, I have to say. I really like all my songs. I was like, I've locked out. I love them all. And then listening to everyone on the album, I'm like, oh, that's just because they're all good songs. So yeah.
Have to give us a shout out to Faces, because there's a section at the end where everyone's doing their own little thing, and this is how I first listened to these guys before they did anything, just giving these most amazing lyrical choices. It was just amazing. Like, I was like, these guys can riff, and I'm here like, ah! it was so amazing, and you know who they are from just singing. It's such a bizarre thing to say.
I'm not sure I quite understand what you're saying. What do you mean that they're giving it? Can you give me an example?
No, you can't. You can't.
I can't.
That's so cheeky.
No, that is one thing I cannot copy. What are these guys? So yeah, we will have a sequence, like I can't even remember how long it is, but it's like 3 riffs, or if you like to say, like and you just hear their personality and their soul in each thing that they do, and it's just so beautiful. And it's like I said, it's the songs ended and it's just people doing their thing for like, it goes through each of us, and it's just so lovely, and I really enjoy it. And I remember sitting back and listening to it and be like, go on. To everyone.
Sounds like some kind of musical signature that's, everybody has their kind of unique imprint.
Yeah, I think
that is perfect.
That is such a good way of putting it.
Yeah. I think what's really great, I think with Brecht, like his pieces, going back to Market Boy, you see sometimes the characters and then you see the actors. So when I was writing Faces, I was like, I just want to have sections where you see the artists just doing their thing. Like you've seen the characters, they've all completed their journeys, and then you see the artists. So I think it was just really special. Obviously, being together in that studio and just letting them all just rip and just do their all riffs, and then just choosing just the best. I mean, they're all amazing, but just hearing all the different personalities and individuality just kind of shine through those riffs. So it'll be a delight for anyone who gets.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah,
Okay, and it seems a bit unfair to ask this of the writer, but Dom, do you have any favorite songs from the show?
Oh, I hate this question.
What's your favorite, Dom? What's your
favorite? They honestly all mean so. I could literally, which I won't do, but I can go through all 21 songs and literally say why they all mean something different to me. I mean, they all, like a song like You, I probably wouldn't say is probably my favorite, but it resonates like a real tough time. So I think it connects really. But I think if I'm thinking of a song to sum up the musical, or it would have to be Heightened and Let Your Garden Grow, because they were the first two that kind of kickstarted it. So Heightened is the ultimate. If you feel suppressed, if you feel pressured, become heightened, rise above the pressure, use the pressure to become a diamond, and Let Your Garden Grow is about complete freedom, letting your garden grow. When scientists look at scans or on the brain, thoughts and ideas, they're represented as branches. So it's almost like just be free, think creatively, be who you are, and just be free when it comes to anything in life, really. And so yeah, and that's why if you look at our design and all our hashtags, it's all about let your garden grow, because from difficult trials in life, you can always grow from it. So yeah, those two songs are probably resonant, in terms of the actual themes, but every single song, I can shout about and do a fanfare.
I'm so glad you touched on that, because I was going to ask about why the tree image with the artwork, and that explains it really nicely. Thank you. Who wants to tell me about the title song, though? None of you mentioned that. Who's going to pitch the title song for me? Andrew, pitch it for me.
Me? Pitch it?
Yeah. Tell me. Cases.
It's just like it's a preface to the whole show, I think. So it's basically just informing you of what you're going to hear and the different situations. So, and it's also giving you a flavor of how the voices blend together, people having their own little moments, and also the amazing harmonies and the amazing lyricism that Dom has. This is the first taste of what you've got a whole album to listen to, and it's ear candy. You can listen to it, you can enjoy it, and get into it.
Yeah. And
how was the pitch? Good.
That was good. I really like that. That was good. And I wonder if you guys, you guys obviously know musical theater very well. You're all incredibly accomplished performers. For musical theater fans, how would you sell Dom's music? Like if you say I think Bobbie, you mentioned Sondheim-esque, if you love Sondheim, if you like Sondheim, you'll love this. Or are there other musical influences that, you think maybe relate to Dom's work?
I'd say there's got to be a little bit of JRB in there. It's the intricacies and the technicalities of your music and your lyrics as well. You have this incredible way of packing so much information into the lyrics and the music and the storytelling and still making it all make sense.
Yeah, it's not overbearing. It all works together to get the point across. You've not got something busy, all is lost in translation. It's like it all goes together.
Yeah, because I think Cases is, to me, is almost like a hymn. I don't know if I'm not sure that's what you're going for, but
it's interesting though.
No, I see that, Bobbie. That's so valid. That is so valid.
Like a hymn. I really get that. It's like a really spiritual beginning.
Yeah.
Sorry, that just really came to my head.
That was
No,
nice.
but it is. I
So
agree with that.
Yeah. It is.
And Dom, to hear your performers compare your work to Sondheim and Jason Robert Brown, that's pretty high compliment there.
I
would
know.
say.
I'm just like, guys, I don't pay them to say that. Wow.
I'll send the voice tomorrow, yeah, Dom.
No, honestly, like I just feel very, very, very humbled. You know, these are all incredible pioneers I've spent my life studying, and you know, you just want to just write your best. You know, just write your best, and I always try and do that. Obviously, there'll be some that I'm inspired by. You know, that's Colour Purple, seeing gospel and musical theatre, or you've got, you know, Sondheim, Into the Woods, all these characters related, and family, and all these themes and lyrics and motifs, and so I try my best just absorb as much information, never be prone to one composer, and then just try and write my best, and I feel very humbled that, you know, these pioneers, yeah, very humbled.
That's great. Very good. And okay, so we're getting near the end of our conversation now, but beyond the album, Dom, what are your future plans for Cases? You tantalized us a little bit earlier. I'm not sure how much you can tell us about this, this, or if you, or indeed, you know, getting those props out of the storage facility.
No,
Whoops,
literally,
everybody.
Grace. Yeah. Our wonderful director's Grace. She's got about 10 suitcases in her shed. She's like, Dom, what's happening? We had a meeting yesterday. Yeah, we've got a school production that's coming. A wonderful college. So in the next few weeks, that will be announced. And we've also got one or two things that we're trialing at the moment. It's a COVID environment, so we can't make too many plans, but we really want to, now that we've got something digital, we want to be able to create a sense of public engagement in a live format. So we're just reaching out to different people and having some great responses. So I would just say
wonderful. And what about musicals beyond Cases?
I'm starting a new commission in April. Something new, and I've got some other digital formatted musicals that can work as well. So I'm just continuing to write and also like develop. I was in touch with the producer last week, and she's like, "Tom, send me everything." So I'm just, as well as Cases, bringing that forward, still going back to other pieces and sharpening. And it's also great to have a book writer on some other ones, because I'm like Cases are great because it's just something, just I can do my own arc, but it's great to also have co-lyricists on some and book writers on others, and just allow them to develop. But yeah, definitely new stuff starting in April.
Because you can't stop creativity, guys. Even when the theaters are closed, you're still incredibly creative people. You gotta let it go. Okay, so nearly finally, let's have some more sales going on here. Why should people go and download the album? Why should people buy the album? We've had Andrew's already done a pitch for me, so who's going to do a pitch? Waylon, pitch. Tell me why musical theater fans should go buy Cases.
That's amazing. And no, literally, that's why you should buy it. Listen, it's wonderful music. If you're a fan of musicals and harmonies and lyrics and storytelling, you've got great storytellers, you've got a great composer, lyricist, creator. Why not? I would definitely go check it out. That's how excited I am about it. And I can't wait to listen to these guys again, because we had a little taster and then it's been taken away from us. And I was like, I want to listen to these guys. Also, there's a special... Is the bonus track?
Yeah, you can say that as well. Yeah.
Is the bonus track on it?
Yes.
Like, even if you want to listen to some good old-fashioned mess-ups, I nearly swore, but I didn't.
Oh my god, it's actually on it!
There's a special track right at the end with all of us going for gold in many different ways. So, you know, that's
my gosh.
Dom, you have really outed us there. You have really outed us.
Replaces, yeah.
I hope the rest of the album makes our careers.
Maiya, can I hear your sales pitch, please?
Because it's absolutely fantastic. It's new British musicals. It's by a black, very talented man. So why not pioneer new work? Like let's just support the black British artists that are out there right now and give them a platform and celebrate their work. And I'm just so excited for everyone to hear it, because it really is truly beautiful, and the work that's gone into it over the past year, it didn't just start last year, it started 6 years ago. So I cannot wait for it to be celebrated the way it really should be.
Wonderful.
So everyone get the album.
Yeah. Bobbie, you need to give us a sales pitch as the person who's known Dom longest on this call, please.
It's dope, number one. Also, people just need to know about Dom. Do you know what I mean? My man.
Yeah.
People need to know, because I mean, not only is he psychic, but he's bloody good. And yeah, it's brilliant music. It's brilliant. Like, anyone would want to be singing that in auditions. That's gonna be my song of choice now. Like, something that Dom's written. And I just feel like everyone deserves that at the moment. Get yourself a new album in your ears. R1.
Great. Andrew, do you have a sales pitch?
Do I have a sales pitch? It's new writing. It's amazing to hear all these voices sing, these amazing lyrics, these amazing harmonies. Everyone is going through so much content at the moment, this Netflix, Amazon, Spotify. So grab yourself a new one, sweetheart. Grab it.
Grab it. And Dom, when the audiences grab it, what do you want them to take away from Cases?
Yeah, I just that confidence that they are reaffirmed, that they are validated, whether they've got family around them, if they don't, that they can get through life, wherever their experience is. We hope that the album just uplifts, it encourages, and we just hope the album is just like a warm hug at this time of comfort. It's very isolating, and we just wanted just to be able to connect with you. We weren't able to do a stage production, but we hope that we're able to connect with you through this album. Yeah.
That's lovely. And remind us where people can go and grab it.
Anywhere online you can find music, the album is there. So the old usuals, Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify. You can download it, you can stream it. But yeah, every music platform it's been distributed to, so you can find it there.
Yeah. And can we also connect with Cases anywhere else? Is there a website, social media?
Yeah, we have got Twitter, Instagram, so it's @Cases. And then London, LDN, and we are on pioneerarts.co.uk/Cases. You can find out more about the history, all the different productions and actors and different things like that. You can find out more information there.
And also social media handles, presumably, for your fabulous performers as well. Yes. Yes,
definitely. We're all
awesome.
all on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and all of those wonderful. Yeah, we're not on TikTok yet, but that's coming.
That's coming. Yeah, God, you've got to be on that. That's amazing. Wonderful. This has been a great conversation. Anything I've missed? Anything else you guys want to add?
You've covered a lot.
No, there's so much. Just thank you so much for this chat. It's just been great. Really, really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's 4 years on from when we did it. I forgot to say it's fourth year anniversary, so it's very, very special, and it's great to commemorate this album release and have a chat with you and explore. I don't know about you, I've learned so much, and it's been great to go back. So thank you so much.
No, it's been a great pleasure. I am missing theater so much, and this has given me a hug. I do feel like I feel hugged. Dominic, Bobbie, Maiya, Andrew, and Waylon, thank you so much, and very best for the success of Cases. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.